Hello and welcome to this Club Zone update. So today we're going to be exploring the impact of clubs diversifying their range of activities on their insurance. Now we know that more and more clubs are offering a wider range of activities to their members, including supping, open water swimming and other types of activities, or perhaps inviting other clubs or providers to use their facilities to deliver those activities. And for me, it makes great sense. It really does. You know, it helps to make the club a family destination and really places the club at the heart of the local community. So it makes an awful lot of good sense. But it's absolutely essential that we make sure that these great ideas do not result in the clubs unintentionally delivering activities that are not covered under their insurance. So to help me unpick this one a little bit, I'm joined by Ben Bennett from our insurance brokering partner Gallagher, who've been endorsing the RYA now for over 40 years and provide cover for over 85% of affiliated clubs. So welcome, Ben.
Thank you.
Thanks for helping with this one. So we'll get stuck into this, and I know you've thought about this a little bit for us, so I'm really grateful. Now, do clubs need to notify their insurers of any changes to their core activities, even if it's only for a trial or a pilot period, or indeed if they're simply allowing members to participate in a different, more wider range of activities on club premises?
Well, the answer simply is yes, most certainly. We recommend that any activity being organised and or hosted by clubs which has not been previously disclosed to their insurance providers should be discussed with them prior to the activity happening. We at Gallagher receive regular inquiries of this nature, and over the last 12 to 18 months that's really been quite a quantity of those types of inquiry. And generally, we can provide clients with a very positive and easy response to those questions. On the basis that the activity is being undertaken within the regulatory body's operating procedures and guidelines, that's the national governing body for that particular activity, and where appropriate and suitable risk assessments have been firstly formulated and ratified, then effectively referred across to insurers. Generally, they've been happy to extend cover without the need to impose any additional terms or any sort of added layers of complexity for clubs.
Fantastic. Okay, good. Right, well, that's positive, isn't it? I'm not surprised you've seen a growth in the number of inquiries of this nature. We have certainly here at the RYA. So, from an insurance perspective only, because there are other considerations on this, are clubs restricted to offering these activities within their normal geographic operating areas, or will cover extend further afield?
Yeah, I mean, again, you might hear me say this a few times on this particular piece, but effectively, I can speak from a Gallagher point of view. Our policy will certainly automatically extend to offer cover within inland and coastal waters of the UK for activities undertaken. That's automatically provided as part of the Gallagher RYA endorsed policy. But if in any doubt, we would recommend that clubs do check that with their insurance provider, because whilst I can speak for our policy, not all policies will follow suit.
Sure, yeah, I completely understand that. I think it's good to raise that, isn't it? So, okay, so that's positive. Now, clubs obviously need to keep a watchful eye on costs. So if a club's seen an influx of new members as a result of diversifying, offering something a little bit different like supping, is that going to affect their insurance premium?
Possibly yes, is the answer. At Gallagher, we underwrite our public liability insurance section of the policy based on a declared number of annual memberships. Now, each policy is viewed on a case-by-case basis. An increase in membership numbers could possibly lead to an increase in premium, and that would need to be discussed with individual account handlers within Gallagher. And really, that's charged by insurers simply in simplistic terms to reflect the higher the membership numbers, potentially the higher the increase in activity and the increase in risk to insurers. So it's a pretty rudimental way of doing it, but that's effectively how it's done. Speaking for other providers, I'm sure that they all may well possibly adopt a similar approach. But again, check with your insurance providers would be our advice, and just make sure that that they are aware of the increase or change in membership numbers, as it may affect terms provided.
Yeah, that makes good sense. That's wise. You mentioned this a few moments ago, but just to go back to it, I suppose, just to pick up on the point, what about safety standards? Now, does the club need any sort of quality mark or evidence of a proactive approach to managing risk in respect to these additional activities that we're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, insurers love proactive risk management, for obvious reasons. Clubs are always recommended to ensure that full risk assessments are compiled and ratified in respect of the additional activities that are being undertaken, and that those are put together in line with the appropriate guidelines and regulations of the national governing body. Obviously, where appropriate, we're talking about a whole range of activities here. Importantly, we believe that clubs should take care to ensure that any additional activity can be undertaken safely and securely and within the facilities available to clubs, and certainly, obviously, not to the detriment of other, site users within that particular premise that the club will operate from. Gallagher policyholders are asked to ensure that appropriate documents are always in place. And if in any doubt, we do encourage our policyholders to refer across their draft risk assessments to their respective account handler within Gallagher, so that we can provide any sort of commentary or provide them with a review of that document if there's any uncertainty whatsoever prior to the activity taking place. So that's a service that we are more than happy to provide, and we'd rather be asked than assumptions made.
You've mentioned different NGBs a couple of times, different governing bodies, and clearly, obviously, this video is for affiliated clubs of the RYA. But are our clubs required to affiliate to other NGBs that would be relevant for the additional activities undertaken, such as British canoeing for supping activity, perhaps?
Yeah, really good question, and one that we do find ourselves being asked by our clients on a regular basis, Gareth. Obviously, we can't speak for all insurers, as I've said already. We do strongly recommend that clubs do speak to their insurance providers on this one. What I can tell you is that the Gallagher RYA scheme insurers would certainly view affiliation to the relevant national governing body as a prudent step. There's no doubt about that. That would be something that would certainly be in your favour if you are looking to undertake an activity. Joining that NGB is certainly a good thing. That said, we don't view it as being absolutely essential. The really important part and the essential part to all of this, as I've said already, is that any activity is undertaken in line with the guidelines and regulations of that NGB, regardless of whether you have affiliation or accreditation to that NGB, that particular NGB involved.
Great. Okay, good. That's a common question we're being asked as well, so thank you for picking that up. Now, of course, sometimes clubs are delivering activities themselves, but sometimes a club will get a third-party provider in to deliver different activities. Now, if this happens, does the club need insurance in place for those activities? Because even if the third-party organisation is delivering the activity, they might not be responsible for it.
Absolutely, yeah. So the answer is yes, very possibly. If the club is deemed to be the organiser of the activity and just happens to opt to bring in sort of external help or assistance with the delivery of non-RYA activities, they should always check to ensure that the third party have got their own suitable level of public liability insurance that has to be in place prior to delivery of that activity. Even if they do, as you sort of alluded to a second ago, the club could find themselves involved from a legal perspective in the event of an incident and following which a claim arises. So it's possible the club could get drawn into at least the legal defence of an incident, of a claim, even if a third party has got suitable insurance cover themselves. It's important to be aware also that any freelance instructor engaging in RYA tuition on behalf of an RYA recognised training centre should always be covered, by the way, under the organising recognised training centre's own insurance. and not be required to carry their own insurance cover. And that's something that the RYA have been very clear on for a good number of years now. Obviously we follow suit, and the Gallagher policy, providing that the policyholder has obviously advised that they are carrying out training activity, the Gallagher policy will automatically extend, cover the liabilities of those persons being brought in to work on your behalf and delivering RYA courses. So that's a fairly standard inclusion within our policy. Again, though, it is important that all clubs and recognised training centres do ensure that they speak to their insurance providers just to make sure they have got the suitable level of cover in place.
Fantastic, great. Look, Ben, thanks for joining us and for making sense of this. It's not an easy topic, but it's a really important topic, and it's a growing topic as well, as more and more clubs look to diversify their activities, to reach out, to get more people in, different people into the clubs. So look, if anyone's got any further questions about this topic, do please get in touch with Gallagher or your own insurer, or of course the RYA legal team here at legal@rya.org.uk. Ben, thanks again. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll keep in touch. Cheers. Bye-bye.